Good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I've been told I have a voice that gets people out of cars and gets their hands in the air. So, Mel, where's Mel? Mel? I got that ticket for you, or that ticket. By the way, I too will come and speak anywhere. I don't provide the donuts. If you provide the donuts, I will be there. I don't have champagne though. Thank you very much for inviting me this morning. I'm here along with Sergeant Jacqueline Luna. Jackie is the sergeant of the real estate team. I actually was the sergeant of the real estate team. I retired. Actually, they forced me to retire. They said, you got to go. So I went, but they rehired me back. So I'm back. And my purpose is to come out and speak to you folks, to the industry, and to help augment the Fraud and Cybercrime Bureau in all the aspects that we do, from fraud and cyber and all the other things that happen, unfortunately, in the fraud world. I'm a real strong proponent of the real estate fraud team. I was sergeant on that team and was instrumental in some of the things that have happened with the increased funding to make sure that we had the best detectives available in Los Angeles County, and I'm going to talk about those other agencies, to make sure that when we get that case from you folks, you're getting the best and the most knowledgeable person. Because real estate fraud is a very, very tough subject for a lot of detectives. You go into your average station, and they're going to look at you and go, I don't know what you're even talking about. What's a deed? You know, what's a grant deed? What do you mean homestead? What do you mean property? What do you mean? There's all these things, escrow, title insurance. It's very confusing. So we make sure that these people that are working these cases are very well educated. They go to they go to the school, and they go 5 days to learn all the things to take the broker test. They're going to all the different classes, how to interview. And they're also very knowledgeable in the area of elder fraud. And that's anybody 65 and above, right? Or anybody that's 18 and above that has the capacity, a dependent adult capacity. A lot of those people, how many do you think, if I was talking real estate, how many cases do you think, percentage-wise, do you think we get that are elder-based with real estate fraud attached? 65? About a third. About a third. And it fluctuates. And why do you think that is?
Easy prey.
Easy prey. What else?
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. What else? And they've got equity. They've got property equity. And you've got family. Unfortunately, I'm going to break your bubble, but family members are the #1 suspects when it comes to taking away their parents' home. Very sad. It really is. We talk about the caregivers and all the other professional groups that are out there, criminal professional, but unfortunately family members, with all their emotions and things about the past and the family, they get in line, and there's a lot of things that go on. And it's terrible. But we have very good people that work that too, and we work with other agencies, which I'll talk about, which is probably the most important part of what I'm going to talk about today. A little washed out, huh? Is this clicking?
The light off?
Yeah. There we go. Let me go back. There. Okay, there we go. It's clicking now. It appears to be clicking. It's not. I'm sorry, folks. It's not my computer. We switched it over. Do I need to be closer? It's not clicking. Can you just advance it for me then manually? And I'll just do it that way if it's not going to work. There we go. Oh, there we go. I'll just tell you when to do it. So the fund I'm talking about, if you've ever noticed when you're doing your paperwork on the real estate transaction, there's a little thing at the bottom which they call the fee for recording the document, which has to do with law enforcement. That fee, that $5 fee, which just got raised recently, is what pays to make sure those detectives and the agencies that participate in this program stay current and are available to only work real estate fraud, which is huge. They're not worrying about any other types of cases, real estate fraud only. And we all meet monthly and we work together, which is huge. The district attorneys, investigators, us, Long Beach, LAPD, we all come together and we work the cases. And that really says a lot for moving the type of cases that these involve. So, it was established in 1996, and it's directly related to the number of real estate transactions for the year. All right, so that's pretty cheap when you think about the total picture of what it costs to pay for a detective with all their benefits to stay solely dedicated to real estate. But right now, the LA Sheriff at the Whittier location, we actually have 4 investigators dedicated, 1 sergeant, and a volunteer, Ed Navarro, who works in the escrow industry, and he's out there with me, and he comes in and he can tell us quickly. He can look at something that we might go, what the heck is this? Ed looks at it with his knowledge, being a volunteer in the escrow industry, and goes, Dana, that's this. and we go right to the chase. So we're off and running, and he's very instrumental in helping us. Ed helps everybody, all the agencies that we work with. And we investigate all real estate fraud cases which are fraudulent instrument was recorded or could have been recorded. It's important. So it's not just because it got recorded, but if it could have got recorded, we take that case too. We take suspicious cases. And here's an example this morning. We were just talking about a case. I'm going to be generic about it because it's evolving. Case comes from another agency. Please look at it. The victim is in, two people own the home. Both were in prison. One got out early. The other one doesn't know it, but he's now gone ahead and done something to his property. And it's causing a lot of other problems. What do you think, what's our reaction to that? We work that case just like anybody else. It doesn't matter to us, okay? We have to be that way. It's a real estate case. There's a victim. He's sitting in prison. We'll have to contact him. We're going to have to go up and find out what's going on. But that's what happens when we do cases. Any case, they all branch out. And we find out a lot more. So sometimes it's just a linchpin of somebody saying, I got frauded. Please look at it. And man, we believe what it happens when we start unwinding the ball of rubber bands. So, Los Angeles County, pretty big, right? Yeah. You think about it. I mean, we got the mountains cutting across. You got Antelope Valley, all Lancaster. But in this map, not only the sheriff does the yellow, and really he's responsible for anything in the county, but we also have the green ones, which are contract cities that we are their police for them. They pay us to be their police. The purple are independent police departments, right? And then you've got the light blue, which is LAPD. We work with all these agencies. We try to do as much as we can to say, please give us your real estate. We don't want you doing it. You don't need to. We will do it for you. Okay? So we have all these members, and we also tie in with the FBI and the AUSA, the U.S. Attorney's Office on different task forces to make sure that we're addressing things that maybe on the state level have gone to a much larger level, maybe other states, and we go for federal too. So we're not bound to the state, we want to go federal. And federal has a lot more stuff as far as grabbing property and assets. So the team gets up bright and early many mornings, and we go up and we wake people up. And we don't bring champagne, we come in with donuts. And we bring people out that have no idea we were coming and will believe that we would, because to them it's just a paper crime. And we come in and we take care of business. And we sometimes bring other people with us that are experts in the same thing. I'll list a few of those in a second here. But in real estate, look at this. We call this the real estate web. If I was to spring that web, if I start a detective or a deputy, say, takes a report, and he says, you know what, I'm going to try to do this a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and investigate. I'm going to go ahead, it says a notary's involved. No, I'm going to contact the notary and see what he or she says. And they contact. The web is sprung. So if the notary's innocent or doing their job, they're still maybe going to go, wait a minute, some things might be wrong. They might call somebody and say, hey, remember this? Or if they're not really up to what they should be doing, they might also make some phone calls, and then we've got evidence being destroyed. So what we tell people is when we take the case and we get it reported, we don't want anybody springing the web. We spring the web. We control it. Because if we don't control it, everybody starts getting involved. Because they're all interlinked. Everybody's worrying about commissions, and am I going to get in trouble? Did I do my job right? Too much at stake here. What do you think the average case, what's the average house? What do you think the average price of a house is in Southern California? At least $500,000. At least. That's a big case. We're not talking somebody going down and robbing somebody for, a bag of Twinkies. Okay. So, keys to success. Our keys to success, of course, the next slide showed that, is communication. But take this case here. Every one of those keys, see what the color thing on it? Represents a victim in a case that we did. And so guess what? The detective's up there speaking. They go, well, he goes and he holds up all the keys. They go, what does that represent? The detective goes, all the victims in this case. And the jury's sitting there. Boom. Drops it. What do you think the jury did? Boom. Okay. Well, not only did they jump, but they also were very impressed with that. We handle lots of cases that have multiple victims. Okay, communication and prevention, very, very important, folks. And I'm actually looking up here, but I guess I could be looking here. But I like looking here, because then I can point, right? Okay, what's really neat is here, we used to shy away years ago from really talking about what we do. But we talk to the media. We let people know. And we do it in any language we have to get the word out. We're constantly out there. We're speaking to groups. We tie into the top one. That was the one in Pico Rivera a few years back where everybody went to prison in the end. A lot of people, they were all Save My Home, they all got taken. It was a foreclosure rescue. Very sophisticated, branched into several other things that we did also. But here we got State Bar working with us, Department of Real Estate at that time, The local station, we ended up taking that down and holding that building for 2 days so we could strip all the computers and equipment out of there. In the other corner, you see me talking at, many times we get invited to speak at different groups that are in the industry or other professional groups. And so we're getting up there and we're talking about, hey, these are the things that we're concerned about, things that we need to be doing so that they stay focused. Even if that means going to the Board of Supervisors and saying, hey, we could use a little bit extra funding, please listen to us. And they do. So especially when we start talking about elders. The bottom one is an interesting one, and that is where we talk to the Register Recorder's Office. We've been very instrumental in getting them to upgrade their video, and we know if we get within the case within so many days, we can get the person walking away from the window. And we are now starting to do the, looking at it, and we have other ways of matching it up, and even parking lots and looking at license plates and things like that. So we've got really good rapport working with the Register Recorder's Office. They're still, hey, wait a minute, you're law enforcement, we can't just let you do what you want. But they also don't like being taken. And their people are working the front window, and they know something's wrong. Okay, they do. So we partner with LA Sheriff, District Attorney's Office. The DAs now are in our office also with us. They also work in the same building with us at Whittier and Star Center, which is really nice. So that we're all one big happy family, right, Jackie?
That's right.
We are constant. They get something, they look and they go, that looks like sheriff's area, and they go, well, that's good, we got 2 for you. And we crisscross them. And so we're constantly, and then when we go out on search warrants, we all go together. So you've got multiple jackets, all with their little logos on the back going through the door. It's really nice, it is. Plus they bring more donuts. Department of Consumer Affairs, we work really close with the Department of Consumer Affairs in LA County. Very good. They have people that are specially trained. They listen to that complaint, and they call us and say, we got something brewing, you need to look at this. We have a monthly meeting or whatever, and we look at it and we start making the case come alive. Register Recorder, Bureau of Real Estate, we work with them closely. Assessors, we've got a lot of cases that come from the assessors, and very, very sophisticated schemes that involve the assessors and property. A little difficult to describe and talk about just from the start. And State Bar. Could you believe there are bad attorneys? Oh, I was so dismayed. It really was. It ruined my day. Private industry, and I'm here because my goal, along with Ed, when I really took the team over from my predecessors, was to get this part, which was kind of missing. We had done some stuff with title and some things with escrow, but we really wanted to establish and make sure that the title industry, escrow association notaries, and everybody out there knew that we're here not to invade your space or to get into your business. We're here when if you can tell us something in advance or see something you don't like, man, just give us that heads up so we can get on it and look at it and cut the head off. And it's worked many, many times. It's really stopped a lot of the bleeding. So what I want to talk about today, and anybody here heard me talk about or before here ever? I know you have, and I hope I don't bore you. Mel, I'm sorry. But you have the aloha spirit like I do. Fraudulent wire instructions and emails in real estate transactions. Really important to understand this, not only from the real estate in your business, but from your personal business, folks. Your home. You need to, and your kids. You need to know what's going on when you're using these devices and all the things in your home, and getting on the internet and allowing things to come into your business through social media and click on here and click on there, and the things that can be done to your computers, and allow people to take money from your business. So how do we target it? By hacking. Folks, it's still happening. And emails, they're coming in. We got all kinds of things coming in through emails. You got social media and internet sites people are watching, looking at. They see something, they click on it, they keep clicking on it. Next thing you know, we got problems, and I'll get into that. Malware and Trojan viruses. They get in there, they maybe take a while, the next thing you know, they start to have problems later on. So let's go to targeting and hacking. Anybody in here got a computer system without an antivirus system that's updated and current? You need to make sure that's done, okay? Because these things are always changing. And make sure you're really using a reputable one, okay? The unencrypted wireless router. I'm here to tell you that a lot of the routers that you get with your cable or different people, the techs that put them in, they know the codes. And these folks, they give them to other people. Or they tell, hey, I got the code to that if you want it. That's worth this to you, whatever. Or you can go online and get a lot of this stuff. It's not that big a deal. It's the unencrypting. If I get that from, say, wherever I get it, and I don't encrypt it, or I don't change the factory setting, then I don't have the padlock when you look at me with a pull down. You got a problem. Folks, you got to make sure you're not on the factory setting. That's all I ask. Just remove the factory setting and put your own password on your wireless router. because that is the linchpin. A lot of these cyber crimes right now is the router. We're not only looking at the computer when we go in, we're looking at the routers, because the routers are going to multiple instruments, okay? All right, so phishing. Anybody ever gotten something on an email that says you got a problem with your bank, right? And I got seniors that go, oh, and they look at it and they go, I don't even have an account with, let's say, Union or Bank of America, but I'm going to respond. And they give them everything, right? That's called phishing. I'm phishing for your information. The public Wi-Fi, this is where we're going to really have the problem. Public Wi-Fi is popping up everywhere. Malls, Starbucks, airports, libraries. That's great. Everybody should have access if you want to do it. But you need to be really careful what you do on public Wi-Fi. Okay? Starbucks is really busy. I go in to get a cup of coffee, and I look around for all my suspects that are working around it now. It's great. Oh, I've been looking for you. What are you having today? A latte? Oh, okay. Yeah, pretty good. Careful, folks, what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. And people maybe, if you're not encrypted, maybe they're real close to your house, and they're using your internet or your server because you are allowed them to come in. Okay, and the pineapple, which I didn't bring with me today because I just spoke somewhere else and I threw it in a different box. But the pineapple is something you need to just, it's a device. It's got antennas. And all it does is you're logged on to public Wi-Fi, let's say, I get on there and I bump you off. And what do you think the natural thing for most people to do once they get bumped off is? They log right back on. And this program allows me, the minute you log on, to capture your password, and now I'm into your system. That's called a pineapple. That's the danger of the public Wi-Fi. It's a real, they'll wear it in a little pack, a little antenna sticking out. They're out in the open, and they're grabbing it. And so you need to be careful, not only for your personal, but your business, because it's got a lot of other things it does. And I teach it to deputies and classes they take, and we spend about an hour plus on the pineapple alone, making them learn it, okay? There's all kinds of stuff out there. It's always changing. So how are we targeted? Social media and internet sites, folks, that's where a lot of it's coming in. The malware can be introduced into a computer by visiting social media or internet sites that are designed for the purpose by the suspect. They want you to click on it. They want you to come in and say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get what you're offering. And then purchase. I mean, if you're making purchases, okay? So you receive an email which advises your password needs to be reset. You are then instructed to tap on a box or button on the email, reset your password. Once you've tapped it, the malware is in your computer. All right? Now, let's say you're on a network. One of your employees does that. The whole network now is infected. Your network is, since they now hooked up to 7 other networks, businesses around the country, they're all infected. It spreads. So you got to be very careful. You got to tell your employees not to be playing and tapping at work. And I know we all do it. So once the malware is introduced, the suspect can hijack the victim's computer and send emails, okay, which will display the victim's email. And this is the problem. Your clients will get an email from you, and it will look like it came from them. You need to be concerned about this. I'm going to show you some examples. So we have wire instructions, which we all use in this industry, and we've got bogus emails in those transactions that are coming in, okay? So who's targeted? 5 minutes, I'm moving fast. So everybody in the industry gets targeted. This is probably one of the weakest areas, the buyer and the buyer to escrow, but do we really check the seller? We got a lot of sellers that are bogus too, okay? So what happens when you don't get it? So a bogus email. Escrow agent gets, an officer of a title company in Michigan receives email wire transfer instructions from the listing agent on behalf of the seller. 5 days later, the escrow agent receives another email, listing agent stating the seller's bank account's been compromised, and the wire should be redirected to a credit union in Boston. Red flag right there. There it is, folks. Right now, you should be making a phone call to verify that. Phone call, right there, okay? Email contains new wire instructions, there's a problem. So, he transmits 96,000, it's gone, okay? So, look at this email. Tell me, these are just, this is made up, but there's an example of a real and there's a bogus. Tell me, what is different between the real and the bogus? The E and the N. The average person would not look for that. They would not see that. They would go and send the money on that, and the instructions would be, they would respond to that. All right, so here's another one. Another one goes on, and the bank money goes to Korea, and the email address is the same. So in my first example, what happened? A malware got in, and now they're inside their actual computer, and they're actually sending the money, looking at it. That was 1.5 million. Quite forced the company to go lay off all its staff. and all the other monies are in the hands of a court-appointed state receiver. I'm not going to show the video because I've been told I got 5 minutes, so I won't show it. Yeah, I'm down to 3. So don't trust emails requesting money or wire money to an account. Please, you need to verify. Verify emails requesting money with a phone call. Contact your bank if you realize you're a victim and request a wire recall immediately. 24 hours, and I've got a flyer here. If it's especially with us, we can probably try to get most of that money back. We've been very successful in 1/3 of all the cases, getting 1/3 of the money back. If you respond quickly, okay? You got to make a police report. You've got to wait on it. You only have 24 hours to get the money back. It goes offshore. Encryption, really, folks, think about encryption. Scanning your antivirus malware, scan, renew, make sure you're updating things, and limit your social media exposure. These are key words not to be using when you're typing to your people. Please try not to use the word wire transfer, money, dollar amounts, bank information. There are people sitting in the video, you would see this, and they are watching hundreds and hundreds of computers with these programs. And the minute one of them says, money, his attention's on it. And now if he's in that computer or whatever, he's now setting it all up. He knows there's going to be a wire transfer, and that's going to start the messages. The generic terms, the information is attached generically. Here is what you requested. That's not going to be something they trigger on, okay? Use your phone, call and verify, implement handshake procedures. Fax machines are making a comeback. When in doubt, fall back on what works. Folks, it's your money. If it's gone, it's gone, right? And sometimes it's huge. Cashier's checks, right? Maybe instead of wire, maybe something to think about. I know there's been a lot of problems with counterfeiting in the past, but you might want to think about that. You might want to think about fax machines again. They're still around, all right? Because right now, people are in the internet. You know, they really are. And here's the big last one, and this is probably the most important. You need to train yourself, but you need to also train your employees. Because you may know it, but they don't. And they're going to think that you just told them, because you're in a meeting, to go ahead and do something, because that's how it's going to come in. And they're going to see maybe an insider or somebody, and they may think, oh, I got to respond to this, or I'm going to lose my job, or she's going to lose, or he's going to lose that sale. And they're going to respond to it, and they're going to do it. And then maybe they come over later and say, hey, I took care of that for you. What are you talking about? Well, that $1.5 million transfer you wanted me to do with that wire transfer. Huh? What are you talking about? It didn't happen, folks. Money's now on its way to a bank somewhere out of the country. Okay? These are other things going on, which I had more time. They're very sophisticated. There's other things that are happening, manipulation of people to use their bank accounts to facilitate a lot of this. And we call those romance scams, but I'm limited. So, discarding your computer, folks, remove the hard drive. Please, do not give away your computers with the hard drive intact. You've got to remove them. The information is on there even if you erased it. All right? Erasing it does not remove anything. Data can be found on other things as copiers, fax machines, cell phones, computers. All these things have all memory in them, folks. Everything's there, especially your copy machines. It's amazing. There is no guarantees in life. If you search hard enough, you can find exceptions to the rules. There is no magic bullet, and technology changes and fraud follows all the time. So that's what our goal is. That morning was to take these people away in all their cars. They were very upset when we took their 7 nice cars. They were living all in this one little house over in the Baldwin Park area, and chickens were crowing all around. But when we took their cars, they knew that was the real thing was happening. The sheriff was there, and it's amazing how much money they had amassed doing fraudulent stuff like this we're talking about. And that's the buffalo we charge into the storm. That's our motto, into the storm. And if you have any questions, there I am.